welcome back to the Kacee Allen Show and Happy New Year. Thanks to everyone that tuned in last year. We accumulated a total of 900,000 views between 40 episodes. We've got plenty of exciting content coming this year, interviews, and as many of you saw, we're going to be traveling down to Florida here soon. Originally, the Kacee Allen Show Florida Tour 2024 was set to begin end of January. Now it's going to be pushed back to mid-February, so not a big deal. We're just going to postpone the trip a little bit, get a few more things done here. But those of you who are unaware, I actually posted a video on pretty much every platform summarizing what's going to happen. But essentially, we're going to take the podcast on the road. We're going to go through the state of Florida through the early part of this year, collect as many interesting interviews and scenery as much as we possibly can to really give you a reality of the state, of the beauty, and also with the election year coming up, we're going to get some very interesting political candidates, ex-politicians, judges, entertainers, influencers, pretty much everybody that you can think in the Sunshine State. That's why we're going to head there, and we're going to provide you the best and most authentic content that we can in the state. We'll still have weekly episodes, plenty of guests on, cover different events. So we're going to have a lot of things coming ahead, and I'm really excited and glad that you guys have joined us for yet another year. Like I said, guys, thanks again. We got a lot of stuff in store for this year. And on another note, our previous episode, which was actually the first one of this year, this is the second. But yesterday we had on former Navy vet, Iraq War veteran. He was also in the Marine Corps, Carl Wallace. He actually only lasted for a 4-minute Twitter space, in which we confirmed to be the 40th episode, where we just got briefly interrupted for some sort of complication on the stream. The space just went blank and abruptly ended, which I'm not really sure why, but we're going to continue Carl Wallace's story in the upcoming weeks. We'll confirm the date, but like I said, it's going to be a really interesting story. We got the brief part of it. You can go check out episode 1 right now, or part 1 of that. Carl basically explains the summary of his military career, why 9/11 was such an important factor that encouraged him to join the military in the first place. So go check that out. Like I said, we'll have more on that in the future. But back to current events and what's going on today. So it's been about a few weeks, I think, since we've done an individual episode talking about current events. A lot's gone on to start the year in 2024, if you've been paying attention. Obviously, the Epstein files. There's the UFO sighting in Miami, which we'll talk about. That's complete bullshit and it's a hoax. There's also a topic that's been really trending recently called DEI. Now, those of you who aren't aware of what DEI is, it's the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's what we're going to talk about today because it's a real issue that a lot of companies, and there's a narrative being spewed that we need to follow these racist policies because that's what they are. These policies that they put in place are intended to not be racist and prevent racism, but therefore by doing that, it's racism itself. And what I mean by that, when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's very similar to affirmative action, which is very transparent to it. This is a system that operates off of gathering data and implementing it into its company by being racist. And they don't intend on it to be that way, like I said. What they don't realize is when they gather data and they try to implement these policies into their company based off of the data that's literally racist, because they think that whites and Asians somehow are treated better than Hispanics and blacks. So they're taking this data and therefore trying to shape a reality or an environment that gives the blacks and Latinos an advantage because they think that they aren't given one to begin with. We all know that's completely absurd and not the way our country actually is. And this goes from the education system, like I said, with affirmative action. It started with last summer when colleges started indoctrinating this policy, started implementing into their schools, started telling students of the minorities and the blacks that you guys, we need to give you a better opportunity to get you into the school. We will therefore take you with lower grades. We're going to accept the minorities on a higher rate than the whites and Asians because, we see it as they already have the advantage. How do you not understand by reversing the effect of something that you deemed racist, how are you any better? The most equal way to handle this is to not have these policies in the first place. Treat everyone the same and don't be sitting here searching for all this research to try to contort the racism. That's what they're doing. They are inciting the problems themselves. And that's what the DEI is. The DEI is more focused on jobs and large companies like IBM, for instance. Check out this video here we're about to share in a second. IBM, the CEO was literally caught on camera in a Zoom meeting stating that we need to hire more blacks and more Hispanics.
I'm very clear about this. I expect at the executive level, so that is not just my directs, but all executives in the company have to move forward by 1% on both underrepresented minorities. So let me say it, Asians in the US are not an underrepresented minority in a tech company. However, others are. Ditto on gender diversity. So we take underrepresented and gender. You got to move both forward by a percentage. That leads to a plus on your bonus. By the way, if you lose part of your bonus.
I don't know how you can watch this and not declare this to be racism. And these are the people that claim to be the godfathers, the almighty goodness of solving the problems of racism. They're creating the narrative themselves to please the people in power, the mainstream media, the government, who clearly are set on dividing the country by promoting that America is somehow systemically racist. I mean, there are no numbers, there is nothing that you can actually use to try to contort this and try to make this something that's going to solve a problem, because it's a problem itself. You can't sit here and say that we need to give this person, this specific race, better treatment than the other one. You think of the 1960s when there were white and black water fountains. These woke companies today, these woke schools, all these woke organizations, that's their goal. They want to bring this type of systemic division back, because it's not that they're trying to solve the problem, they're trying to create the problem themselves, so we don't have a clear vision as to what's going on in the country. It's really obvious. I mean, it's been done time and time again. It really doesn't matter what we're talking about, whether it's DEI, affirmative action, Black Lives Matter, ADL, all these anti-racist organizations that are set on doing nothing but creating more problems than they're solving. And really, are they solving anything? Because I think we would be a lot better without these organizations. They are trying to solve the racism problem themselves, but are unknowingly or knowingly, I mean, that's the thing. They might not actually be intending to cause harm, but they're doing so anyways. Even after watching the IBM video, I really think these people, they aren't evil, at least most of them aren't, but I think they're genuinely trying to solve a problem. I mean, you see what's going on at Harvard right now. They just had to fire their president, one, for plagiarism. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But two, she was also indoctrinating these racist policies that, you know, she thinks she's saving the world. Keep in mind, this is Harvard. This is an Ivy League school that's supposed to be one of the most respected and expensive education systems in the world. So it's no wonder when you think about the companies that run this, the school systems, it doesn't matter what achievement, what level of intelligence that you may have or acquire. Well, it just shows that even an Ivy League school can give into something this stupid. Allegedly, some of the smartest young people and professors in the world follow this indoctrination. They follow this agenda. It really makes you question their intelligence. And obviously, we understand that college is a scam. There are so many better ways to get what you actually aspire in life without indoctrinating yourself to a system that, one, is going to ask you for enough money to put you in debt for 10 years, and two, it's not going to give you the necessary knowledge to actually excel in whatever you really aspire to be. This DEI thing is unacceptable. It's a joke. It's a laughingstock. I really hope that most of these companies don't pursue in this. I mean, it's something similar to like ESG. It's senseless garbage that without real statistical data, or even with statistical data, it doesn't amount to any solutions. These people that think they're saving the world are only making it worse. So that's what you need to know about these corrupt movements. It's really salient to understand this as a college student, especially because you're going to be indoctrinated to this nonstop. And I'm sure most high schools and the public education system have to go by this because, I mean, they're funded by the Department of Education, and you have to really consider what they're being taught in the classrooms, and that's a real question. So it's a real concern, and hopefully these companies and schools can put an end to this, but if Harvard's doing it, you never know. But just know reverse racism is racism. We'll see you next time.